G'day there, ladies and ladies. Welcome back to our Donkey Kong 64 Let's Play. I know that, yeah, I might just turn down the volume a little bit. Hope this doesn't affect what you guys are hearing, but I'm just turning down my end. It should still be the same volume for you, but let me know. But yeah, welcome back. I know that I wasn't here to play this last week, but that was because we were doing the Pokedoku tournament, which was pretty fun. So, now we are ready to move on to the 5th world of the game, and it's a decent world, all things considered, but I feel like the peak was definitely the first 3 levels. Gloomy Gallon's kind of like a turning point. Actually, I know that a lot of people don't like Gloomy Galleon, but I don't mind it. It's just that, and like, Creepy Castle is great and all, but there's definitely a tonal shift in terms of my energy when it comes to these levels. Like, it's not as appealing, I guess. Maybe because it's like further along, and so you don't often get too far, like, in terms of enjoying the game. But we're here, so let's go into it. So while we could do that, cycle through that for a bit to get some hints. We don't really need that. We can do that though. I believe it gives us a fairy. So let's give it a try. Yeah, remember the colour corresponds to the column. I guess it's not yellow? No, red. Oh, no, we just didn't hit it. Alright, so now we go to yellow, which is DK. Alright, now it's blue, so that's not kill. As if. Okay, that's great. And finally purple for Tiny. Got it. A chunky pad, which we can't really use. At the moment, at least. I keep hitting that. Oh, I need to hit it anyway. I need to back up a bit. Got it. Excellent. Each of those fairies increases our total supply of crystal coconuts by 1, making us able to use them for longer. In terms of who to start off with, it doesn't really matter for Fungi first. So let's just go Tiny. We get another cutscene. They don't make games like they used to these days. Yeah, I like, especially considering this game has voice acting and the ZA doesn't. I'm just saying. But yeah, like, you get a lot of value in this game for what it is, you know? Sure, it's a small game, not exactly the greatest looking, clunky controllers and all that, but multiplayer, boss battles, cheats, you got entire campaign, multiplayer mode. Yeah, just you got a lot in this game, and it's got a lot of kind of quality to it. You know, like the music is great, the humor is pretty fun, and you can tell that they've got passion for this game compared to modern games. But hello, Ditra. I hope you're doing good. Alright, this is Fungi Forest. The gimmick of this area is that it's got a day and night cycle. Now, the first thing you want to do is open up these gates. Well, you want to open up all the gates, kind of. Just getting started, you know. Like, sure, there's going to be some bananas here, but there's going to be another gate. Now, I know that people really hate this, but again, I've kind of grown up with this game, so I don't really mind it. But what this is kind of telling me, right? Context clues. You need Tiny and Chunky to get in there. AKA, you need Tiny and Chunky to be in there, you know? Like, it helps you know where you are supposed to go with it. You know? It gives you a bit of a guiding thing. It's also completely possible that you, for some reason, have not been able to rescue Chunky at this point. I mean, if that has happened to you, then that is rough, because, like, you kind of are forced into the area in Frantic Factory, but I guess technically Frantic Factory is kind of optional. So if you went straight from Angry Aztec into Gloomy Galleon, and then you went here, it's possible that you don't have Chunky Join yet. It's, you know, very unlikely that people do that because, like, you're missing out on some powers from Frantic Factory. You can obviously watch Chunky on, but it is possible. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get homing ammo from Funky Kong, which isn't necessary, but it is useful. So we can now collect red homing ammo crates, which will be used up before we use up our regular ammo, and it'll be homing into. It will home into balloons, switches, like the gun switches, enemies. So, you know, it is pretty useful. There's a few areas where it kind of wants you to use it, because like the enemies are like really fast. But technically, it's not needed. Alright, so we've just gone big chunky mode to rescue this apple. Worm, rather, in the apple. And now we're going to move it to somewhere more sunny. Yeah, he's dead. That's the hard part of this sort of challenge, like just not getting hit by the zinger. And jump. There we go. Banana. There we go. You can also see that this is number 2 banana port, and number 2 was in there. So it kind of reminds you about, you know, where to go with each banana port. There isn't much else to do over there at the moment, but we will be going back to it later. What we will be doing is activating the rest of these banana ports. So we got 1 for Lanky, we got 4 for Diddy, and we got 3 for Tiny over here. Number 5 is elsewhere, but at least for now, that's what we got. So let's check out the mushrooms and see what we can find. Don't think there was too much, but what we are going to do is we're going to start things off by doing a minecart challenge. Now, we did a minecart challenge in Jungle James, but there's no one in Fungi Forest. I forget what it's... Oh, just some lucky coins. That's fine. Maybe there's a balloon up there? Not quite. But here we got a well. Now you get a tip from Wrinkly Kong, but basically Chunky is strong enough to open this. Oh, did we miss a banana or something? The minecart's my favourite minigame in this. That is pretty good, yeah. You know, the minecarts are pretty fun, that's for sure. And they are replayable, so you can just kind of boot up this game and do whatever. It's not like other challenges where you can only really do it once per playthrough. I didn't see how many coins I have to get, but I think it's like 50. I missed it out. So those bells will open or close the gate. Keep moving, Chunky, keep moving. Destroy him. Do a little look around here. Just like coin on purpose. Ready, and there we go. Bell. Bell. We don't want to hit that one. Bell. Excellent. We're doing good so far. Jumping. Little cutscene. Yeah, the minecart game, minecart section in Dungeon games are always fun. As I get hit by a TNT barrel. Poor Chunky's head hitting all those bells. Yeah, ding ding. This one we just got time. Ding! Ding dong. Like, this is kind of funny because, like, Chunky is, like, the most scared Kong. So, him going through this is like hell. You know, he's big and strong, sure, but he's very shy and timid. We love him. Okay. No, we weren't able to hit any of them. Ah, the walk of shame. Must be getting closer. I think this is the end. Yeah. But we did it. It is pretty fun. And the fact that it's replayable, it's so good. You just boot up this game whenever you feel like you need a minecart section in your life, you know, as you do on like a casual day. Boot up this game and go for it. However, you will notice we are in a different area. That's because this is kind of like a one-way transportation, which kind of just saves us from walking over here. But we may as well open up. Just I don't think we actually need to open up. I'll just double check. We need to open up that for sure, but we need to open up this. Got some donkey nanas. This might be... Yeah, okay, we don't need to open it. Ah, hello. Your message didn't send media service? That is weird. I don't suppose you're like... being a sailor and just swearing, you know? that might have done it, you know? So I may as well get these donkey bananas. I remember the boss of this level being pretty fun. Yeah, it is pretty, I guess, difficult, in a way. It does have some difficulty elements to it, and it is overall pretty fun, you know? you know, it's quite the spectacle. So, what do I want to do first? Okay, I want to do the inside before I do the outside. So, believe it or not, I think we need to be chunky again. All I said was, to Mewtwo walk into a bar. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't send. Very weird. But we're going in here. We can do this one first. Oh yeah, we don't have the blue switch, so when we find Cranky, which we can... I do know where Cranky is, so we can go for it, but we need to come back here in order to hit that switch, to get in there. But we'll go back to Chunky Kong. Chunky's actually like probably the MVP of this level, if I'm being honest. We go around here. Manage to land that, and we get in. So we're in a bit of a secret location. Cranky asked me after... God. Open from the hinges, impressive. Pretty much. Cranky asked me after facing all these Mega Chestnuts. I can tell you're angry because of your language, or of your grammar and stuff. It is beastly and cool. Is Mega Chestnut actually good though? Because like, you gotta imagine that if people are using flying types for dig, right? To avoid dig, that a grass fighting type wouldn't be that useful. Okay, so now we got that moving, which is great. Yeah, anything else we can do here? We can get some tiny bananas, but we'll get that later. Oh, we do need to open this though. It's a surprise tool that'll help us later. So we can actually do a fair amount in this area at night time. I don't think we can really do much else at the moment. There is something I need to do though. We're gonna do a delivery service. It might have to be a nighttime and daytime thing again, but let's try this. Carry this with us. Now this might be a not correct way to do it, but we're gonna do it anyway. So, normally the idea is that I think Donkey Kong up above opens this up, or maybe Diddy Kong, it might be Diddy Kong, activates this so we can just put this on here. But if we... Okay, we can't... What if we... Okay, we didn't capture it. Alright, whatever. We'll worry about that later. So, let's see if Donkey Kong can, or Diddy Kong can do it. Might help if we become one of those. It might have to be Diddy Kong. Actually, I guess we'll find out. It's been a while. But yeah, how is everyone doing today? I'm still working on my 100 sub video, where you get to learn my top 10 games of all time. Yeah, so we need this to be nighttime. So, given that there's a fair amount to do during night, we'll go ahead and make it nighttime. So, the easiest way up... I love the personality they gave all of them just by scrolling past each of them. Yeah, they each have like... where's the cannon at? One sec. There it is. They each have like a little animation that plays like when they're not being hovered, and then they do have music and animation when they are being hovered over. Like Chunky, for example, wants to be picked, but as soon as you go over, he's like, "Oh wait, no, actually, don't want to be picked. Pick Tiny instead." You know, like it's pretty good. So now we go to nighttime. That little animation will only play, well, cinematic will only play the first time. Maybe if we do daytime as well, but after that it will be kind of done in the background. So, there's a fair amount to do in nighttime. I am sorry if it's hard to see, but we're just gonna have to make do with it. Get these bananas. So, I think Diddy Kong might be able to get out there, but we need to be here. Right, we should probably go get the switch. Luckily for me, I know where it is, so we will be doing some traveling. Because that switch is going to be very necessary for us. So, we want to go... Wait. Can we open this? Of course not. What's your favourite Kong to play? Probably Tiny Kong. She's fun to move around with, like with the ponytail twirl. She's also got like a slide kick attack. Okay, so I think it's this way. She's pretty fun to play with. But you know, you can't go too wrong with Donkey Kong. Okay, so this is that area. We need to go... Like, Donkey Kong's pretty fun as well, like his movement attack and his kind of roll. They're pretty fun to use. So, is this the correct area, or am I thinking of somewhere else? It might be somewhere else. Alright. Like, they're all pretty fun, and they also each got something unique about them, for sure. But I think Tiny Kong is the most fun to move around with. So I think we want to go this way. This might be... Monkey Kong? No. Yeah, we want to be in this area, because Cranky is in this area. There he is. We'll go around getting the bananas later. I just want to get Kong upgrade for now. Wait for the water to rise. There we go. Yeah, like, we got so many coins at this point that we don't even need to get more coins, which is great. And so now we've upgraded our ground pound for all the Kongs. It's not just for Lanky. So, let's look at the new stomp animation. Pretty cool. May as well get these now rather than later. We'll be coming back to this mushroom for sure, but that one's lucky. There we go. I guess we might as well go through this area and unlock the banana. Alright, so I know it's a bit of a detour at the moment, but trust me, once we get into it, it'll be a lot easier to maneuver around the map. But yeah, like this level isn't exactly my favourite for this kind of reason. Like, it's a lot of moving around just to get started, you know? So the banana port should be here. Okay, this is another area that we'll get to later. For now, we want to go to banana port 1. Of course I got the exact wrong way, but, you know, it is what it is. And also, within 24 hours there will be a new Pokemon Links video, but what's cool about it is that I'm doing it as a kind of a collaboration thing with Pokeways, which if you've been watching my TCG progression series with him, you'll kind of remember him. But yeah, like he's got a part 1 and I got a part 2 to review, which is pretty cool. I just gotta work on it a bit later. Okay, so Lincoln doesn't operate the winch, but let's go wait for him to die. But at least we get a banana out of it, so it's not too bad. So that's an example of a place where it kind of wants you to use a homing ammo, but you don't really need it. We gotta switch to Diddy Kong. I remember the multiplayer part of this game being pretty good. It was okay. It was definitely early multiplayer. It definitely could have been improved upon. It's not like Conker's Bad Fur Day level multiplayer or something, or GoldenEye, right? But it is pretty good. There's basically like 2 modes. There was like a brawl, where it's like a lot of chaos on a small arena, which is a pretty fun little party mode thing. There was also a bit more of a kind of extra areas to explore, to battle in, and that was okay, but I mean the combat in this game is not exactly perfect, you know? You got oranges at home, you got... yeah. It's not the greatest multiplayer combat. Compared to everything else at the time, it was good. The Conker had more variety in what you could do. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, N64 back in the day, like, you didn't have too many options for multiplayer, so I guess you had, like... 1 sec. There we go. Oh, it doesn't home on balloons, okay. Yeah, so now we can hit this. Yeah, so... in terms of multiplayer on the N64, it's not the greatest. You had, like, Smash Bros, you had Mario Kart, right? But as an extra little thing, it's not that bad, you know? Like, it's an extra little thing, you know? So does that activate the... no, it doesn't activate it there. I forget how to do it. But at least we got Donkey Kong, but we can't really go inside at the moment. so what we will do is... Well, Diddy's got a fair amount to do over here anyway, so we may as well do that. He's got a lot to do during night. What balloon do we have here? Donkey. Donkey. First try. Alright. Now this challenge is going to be a little bit more annoying. Give me the bananas. There we go. See, it's dark. We can do this to get squawks with some light. However, given the controls of the camera, something like that camera, you know, so this is hard because of the controls, really, and the camera. Because we need squawks to be facing us in order to move the camera. I like how this game tells you which character you need via the collectibles. It is pretty good. I know that a lot of people want all Kongs to collect everything. God, this is gonna be annoying. I know that, yeah, people want all Kongs to collect everything, but I feel like then there isn't as much reason to play each Kong, you know? Like, why play Diddy Kong if Ling Yong can get all his bananas, you know? See, like, this wouldn't be too bad on modern controls with, like, a better analog stick and all that. But, given the camera and controls of the N64, I mean, this is an emulation, obviously, but it's not exactly easy. Come on, Squawks! Banana, 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 banana. I can't turn the camera too much. See, like, what am I supposed to do here, you know? I just gotta wait for Squawks to turn around by moving a bit more forward. So, oh, that was close. That was a close one. Okay. You see this in an alleyway, what do? You run, is what you do. Okay. Okay. There's a part in Banjo Tooie that had a dark place like this? Yes. However, in Banjo Tooie, you could use fire eggs and maybe even the Wonder Wing to light up your path. I don't remember if that was the thing, but there were ways to help out with that. There aren't really ways to help out with this. Also, I think the Banjo Tooie one had wider platforms than what we have here. Alright. We got it, somehow. Now for the pro game move. There. I can't even fail correctly. Hey. I don't think Diddy has anything. Oh wait, I don't think. Yeah, Diddy does have something. This might be how it's activated. Nope, that just destroys that. We can get that later. I'm gonna switch over to Donkey Kong. We also now have a Z branch of Mega Evolution. Yeah, so that might have been in the recent trailer or something, right? I haven't quite seen that, but I don't particularly care about spoilers for the game. I mean, that works. Yeah, so Z Megas. It's really weird because they don't really explain. I guess we could have done that. They don't really explain X and Y Megas. So why are they adding in Z, you know? Like, they don't even say something like, oh, it's like, you know, Xerneas and Yveltal Evolutions, Mega Forms or something. We are just meant to guess, for the most part. I don't think there's anything else I have to do. Yeah, we can just go for it. You know, like, why is there a Charizard X and Y? And now there's like a Lucario Z. So, Lucario Z, right? What is the original Lucario then? Is it an X form? Is it a Y form? Is it just Mega Lucario and they can't be bothered? Like, what's the idea here? You know, like, is there Mega Lucario and just Mega Lucario Z? Alright, this one's gonna be a bit harder because, this tool. This is getting out of hand. Now that's tool. We need to move though. Wait! Why did I do that? Mega Lucario Z is just Hatsune Miku. Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but you know they'll print out 20 million Mega Evolutions just to get you to buy it, you know. Let's just try being slow. There we go. Up and out. And then we're gonna speed things along. Neo. They go to the outside. We go to the inside. We'd be chilling. See, I like this minigame. It's pretty fun. There needs to be like an endless mode. But, like, honestly, I don't like the idea of having new Mega Evolutions. Right? Like, for me, it's like, okay, I like the idea of being like, you know, Mega Evolutions from the past, like, from the first time the weapon was fired, right? And, you know, Pokemon maybe will use, like, because there was a war going on at that time, so it's possible that the Pokemon that were hit in that war were transformed into, like, Mega Stones, and then as soon as their descendants, you know, hold on to it, they get access to a one powerful form, right? I like that idea. And then it's like, oh, in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire there's new Megas. Oh, but it's okay because from the Ultimate Weapon, the Hoenn Legendaries... How did that not work? The Hoenn Legendaries are powerful, and that leads to another surge of new forms and stuff. Sure, as long as it's in the ancient past. But with Lumiose, it's like, oh, within the last 5 years, the tower's been acting a little bit funny, and now there's new Megas. Like, really? Really? That's what we're going with. Like, it's crazy that we've had all of Gen 6 and, you know, most of Gen 7 to explain Zygarde and the Mega Evolution lore. And now we're finally getting a game that's in that region, right? To address a lot of the plot holes and questions about X and Y. We're finally getting a game like that. And if anything, we have more questions about what a Z form is. Like, make it make sense. Alright, so now we're going as Tiny Kong to do our little infiltration mission. And a mini boss battle. Like, part of the lore with Mega Evolution is that, you know, the Pokemon are actually like in pain from the Mega Evolution, right? And so why would you have a game where everyone really enjoys spamming Mega Evolution? Like, it feels wrong to really Mega Evolve them. You know, if it's causing them pain, you should go through a playthrough without using Mega Evolution. You know, like... No, I like, you know, critically injuring my Pokemon like every 5 minutes. You know, I was like... So there's a lot of a disconnect with the kind of the plot. I don't like it. You know, let's have a city where there's wild zones appearing out of nowhere because Pokemon are being drawn in for some reason. I guess from the tower as well. I don't know, like, the entire thing, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't think it's a particularly good story. I haven't seen, like, too much of the story, but I don't think it's that... Oh, right, we're supposed to... I forgot that we're supposed to shoot. I took it as because the weapon was nearly used in X and Y. It's sending out strange effects to Pokemon. Yeah, I guess I would explain, like, Mewtwo. As well, like, it's 2 forms it gets, even though it's like a man-made Pokemon. Okay. Yeah, so, like, it is possible that it's, you know, you can get new Megas, but the crazy thing is that the Mega Pokemon seem to already know how to use a new body. The secret is that Volo is back, and it's gonna be the main bad guy in the DLC. I mean, wasn't he, Legends of Arceus guy? You know, technically with dimensions and stuff, you can do parallel universe stuff, and you can do timeline shenanigans and stuff, and Pokemon's no stranger to that. It's been around since the very start of the game, like, of Pokemon. There's been timeline and stuff. So, I mean, it's possible, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they didn't really put much effort into the story. Like, if they're having a palette swap Lumiose as DLC, you know, people are like, oh, let's go to a new region, or we're gonna get the rest of Kalos. It's like, given their track record of what Pokemon promises and what they provide, do you really think they're going to get, like, do you really think you're gonna get all that? Okay? ALB, how's it going? We're just doing some Donkey Kong 64. Here's a wall. His outfit in the museum said he donated himself. Huh. Yeah, I never actually completed the Legends Arceus, so I didn't really get that far. But he's immortal as well, huh? How's he immortal? Is he... Because, like, the plot of that game is, the rifts, right? I guess you could get a model from space-time energy, I guess. Miss these old games. Yep, they're pretty good. So, now to get out of here. But yeah, like, everyone's like really hyping up like, you know, who's gonna be the villain of the DLC, and you know, we're gonna get Hoenn, we're gonna get, you know, the rest of Kalos, we're gonna get an underground, you know. It's like, we were hoping for a lot for just the base game of ZA, you know. We don't get much of a underground dungeon kind of thing, we don't get much of a city. Like, you know, the city is actually a lot smaller than people were thinking. If you're having an entire game around a city, we're expecting like, you know, an Arkham game kind of level, maybe a Cyberpunk kind of thing, even a GTA, you know? Like, we're expecting a big city for that price, you know? Not just something that you can run around in like 5 minutes. And so, you know, people are saying like, oh, we're gonna get a new region, we're gonna get the rest of Kalos. It's like, we are not getting that. If they are saving money by doing a palette swap of Lumios, we're definitely not going to get a lot of content. You know, and them overpricing for DLC doesn't sound too far out there as well, you know, so I'm just saying, probably don't get your hopes up. It's mostly like, was it $30 US for new Megas, and you're gonna enjoy it. You know, that's, if you get a story, great, but I wouldn't count on it. So, how do we go now? We are gonna go with, we're gonna go back to Duking, because we're gonna be going elsewhere. I'm assuming something to do with Giratina or Arceus, because he does tell you he manipulated Arceus to bring you to the past. Really? Huh. I gotta look up more about Volley. I don't know about that much at all. Sounds interesting. We're gonna go this way. Focus on this area. But yeah, I wouldn't expect too much from the DLC. I didn't expect too much from the base game, and from what I've seen, it's even less than what I expected. And so, all I'm really thinking that we'll get from the DLC is more Pokemon. If you're lucky, you'll get something akin to the Dynamax raid dens in Sword and Shield DLC, where you can do like endless replayability boss battles against, you know, a variety of legendaries. Maybe you get, you know, a lot of them, you know, but I wouldn't count on much. Now, where's the rocket battle? It is... I know that people are probably gonna be like, oh, wait, mate, you're just a, you know, a bit of a hater, right? I forget what barrel is. Huh. Wait, if there's the carrot, it's gotta be over this way. There it is. Yeah, and like, you know, people will be like, man, you're such a hater, but it's like, they are fine charging $70 for Legends Arceus, right? And so they are also fine with charging $30 for the DLC. And they know that people will pay it because it's got new shiny Megas. You want to get the new shiny Megas, don't you? You don't want to miss out. That's not fair, I wasn't ready to start the race. But they know that people can't resist not playing it. They know that, you know, the gotta collect them all kind of mentality goes rampant for some people. You think of how many people want to complete a Pokedex or the shiny hunt, you know, want to keep their collection, right? And they have purposefully built that kind of mentality, you know? They want you to collect every Pokemon because they want you to buy every game. And so, when there's new shiny Pokemon in a game, no matter how bad it is, they know that people are going to buy it because they want to complete their collection, you know? And so they can charge whatever price they want because they know that, you know, nobody's going to reject because, well, you want the shinies, you want the new Pokemon. And so they can overcharge for ZA while basically under-delivering, just focusing on not even new Pokemon, but new forms for older Pokemon. And then they can just slap on some DLC and be like, hey, you think we're gonna get new content? Well, guess what? There's only new Pokemon. And you're gonna get it anyway, because you love getting new Pokemon. Like, it's a really scummy practice. Like, I would love for them to actually put in more content, like we got in the older games. But at this point, they know that they can get away with it, so why would they put in more content? Can't even shiny hunt legendaries anymore. Yeah, that's been a thing where it's like shiny locked on legendaries. You know? Now we are at a disadvantage here because it takes 2 peanuts to take out a Coming instead of 1. But like, you think about like things like mythical Pokemon and how you had to kind of pay for a little thing just to receive it in game. You don't even get like a little event in game anymore. You just get a mystery gift and you receive it. You know, there's no Darkrai quest or Shaman spot. You just like get Marshadow or Volcanion by basically paying for it. You can't even use it for like a battle facility or anything. So, like Miniasaurus, you were talking about like a level 100 shiny Miraidon or Koraidon or something, right? And you have to like that's a paid thing, right? You don't get that for free. The Alpha Orc 2 is how we are able to block so many cheaters last season. I think there's only some detail. Great. But yeah, like, so it's really been going downhill since the end of Gen 5. Like, Gen 6, you know, it wasn't too impressive, but we gave it a pass because it was 3D models and it was a 3DS, so it's like, you know, it's the first steps, right? Like, okay, surely they do better, right? Mega Ruby and for Sapphire, it was okay, yeah, but no Battle Frontier. Great. You know, then you had Gen 7, that was overall pretty good. There aren't too many complaints about it, but they immediately had a definitive edition the following year. And so that was very scummy. Was it a daytime thing? I think it's a daytime thing. My bad. So I guess, oh, would you need to be tiny for something? But basically we've been giving them a bunch of excuses, and they've been like, you know, pumping out a game every year, and you know, getting less and less, right? But now they're finally on Switch. It's like, okay, sure, they were on handhelds before, but now they're on Switch. Now we're gonna get a good game. Guess what? We're recycling the 3D models and attacks. And you're gonna deal with it, you know? You're gonna deal with Ocarina of Time 3, you know? And it's like, oh, well, maybe if we get a Switch upgrade, you know, if we get a Switch 2, we can get a, you know, an actual decent game, you know? We've got a Switch 2. And we've got ZA. Like, Hello? And, you know, it does not look good. I don't care what the excuse is. I get that they want to save money, but it does not bode well. My mom has a new fight the second you get your starter, if you know where to look. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, so I'm not too optimistic about modern Pokemon. And like, Pokemon Pokopia is like the first Switch 2 exclusive Pokemon game, right? Like, that's the first Pokemon exclusive Switch 2 game. And yet, I've seen like Dragon Quest Builders 2 and it looks about the same, you know? It's not much of an improvement. And, like, you compare Pokemon ZA to larger games on Nintendo Switch, right? You've got Xenoblade, you've got Breath of the Wild, you know, I guess you got all the Xenoblade games, and they all look amazing. And then you got Legend ZA with buildings. And it's like, what are we doing? Why are we charging $70 for this? US dollars, that is. It's more expensive over here. Actually, I don't want to go here. I want to deliver that bean. Like, why is it charged so high? Like, $70? Alright, that means it's better than, like, Breath of the Wild. It's better than Mario Odyssey. It's better than, you know, like... That price point leads itself into comparison to other games of the same price. And I've seen cheaper games that compete. I've seen games from the GameCube and PlayStation 2 that compete with modern Pokemon. Where's the excuse now? Do we need to switch free in order to get ZA to look good? No, it doesn't matter how strong the console is. Pokemon will never catch up. Like, what excuse is there so that it doesn't look as good as like Breath of the Wild or a Xenoblade game? What excuse could there possibly be besides they're incompetent or lazy? What excuse is there? I don't think there is one, right? It's not the hardware. We've seen the Switch, you know, being able to put out pretty good quality games. And ideally the Switch 2 should be even stronger than that. It's not the money. You know, Pokemon has like as much money as they really need. Time? Maybe? Like, I guess if they were like really crunching for time, but again, they can kind of just do whatever they want with the amount of money they have. Like, sure, you don't get the TCG product this year. You just like, you just keep going with TCG or EMA, whatever. You don't need to stop it. Give your game some time, right? They can afford to have time. And so, if it's not time, it's not money, and it's not hardware, then the only possible thing is that it's a skill. They aren't skilled enough to make a good Pokemon game nowadays. They were fine on the handheld, you know, but as soon as they switched to 3DS, the cracks were starting to show. And then as soon as they, you know, been given access to a full-on console, they don't know what to do. They can't comprehend how to make a game. And like, sure, people like Legends Arceus as well, you know? But it also has a fair amount of faults. Like, why is it that the Legends games can't have abilities? Is it a coding thing? Is it a balance thing? Like... It is time. Xbox is perfectly reasonable. Xbox has given Game Freak 4 years and a new Xbox game looks amazing. Yeah! The Beast of Reincarnation looks amazing. Nintendo has an enforced release window or other full product every 2 years. I'm guessing you were cut off there. Yeah. Like, Beast of Reincarnation looks pretty good. It could also be a time thing, but I think with that game specifically, it might also be, like, passion. You gotta imagine that, you know, making Pokemon for like 20 years is kind of boring after a bit. So they could have been like, alright, can we please stop doing a Pokemon game, you know? And so now they've been given a chance to do Beast of Reincarnation, and it's like, well, we're gonna put our effort into it because we like the idea of this, and it's not Pokemon again. Game Freak have had other games in the past, so maybe it is Xbox. Maybe the combination of them being more open to ideas and giving them time is why it's going to be potentially pretty good. It could just be Nintendo's fault. So, I guess we have three possibilities there. It's got Nintendo's fault as to, like, their design decisions, or like, you know, release schedule. It's the time frame. Well, no, it's the skill of Game Freak. You know, maybe they're not as skilled, and they don't know what to do with Pokemon in modern consoles. Or the third option is that they're kind of tired of it. They don't want to do Pokemon anymore. Hal and Sakurai handled Pokemon Ranger. Wait, Sakurai worked on Ranger? Hold up, I did not know that. I also didn't know it was Hal, I didn't really remember that. But, that's pretty cool. And yeah, Pokemon Ranger is definitely a banger series. Mystery Dungeon, also a great series. You know? But, first party Pokemon, not that great. Like, and even when they want to be creative and leave it to another developer or something, or like an outsider party, right? We had Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl done by Ilka, and that was garbage. Sorry, people hated BDSP, but I thought Ilka did great. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't think it was that good. I didn't play it, but I don't really need to play it, you know? There's a fair amount kind of wrong with BDSP. Like, there's no Switch game that I would really consider to be like a top 10 Pokemon game. Like, I feel like if you ask the majority of Pokemon fans that have played older games and newer Pokemon games, the majority of them will say that the older games were better. Obviously, if you ask a new Pokemon fan, they'll tell you that the new game's good, because they have like no frame of reference. And obviously, if you ask only people that play older games, the older games, and they won't be able to tell you anything about the new games. But if you ask people that have played both, they will probably tell you that the older games were better. I'm still waiting for a Gen 4 remake, that's good. Like, how do you have a remake, but you don't have the platinum content? Like, why? Heart Gold, Soul Silver had crystal content. Why can't Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl have platinum content? It just doesn't make sense. And then, like, they force XP share, I believe. And they force the friendship mechanic. That was optional in the, you know, Gen 6 and Gen 7, but it's mandatory in Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Like, why? And so, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl is not a good game in my perspective. Now, it's fine if you like a bad game, right? I like Donkey Kong 64, you know, I think it's great, but I can understand why people don't like it, right? It's okay if you like a bad game, and it's also okay if you don't like a good game. But, besides enjoyment, you gotta kind of look at it from a broad angle, and, you know, from a technical perspective and, you know, all that. And you can't realistically say that it's a good game. You can say you can enjoy it, but you can't say it's a good game. And that applies to the majority of Pokemon nowadays. You can enjoy it, but you can't really say it's a good game. Because Pokemon are friends, not food. Are they really friends at this point? Like, with all their copyright stuff, are they really friends? You know, everything going on with Power World, it's like, can you really tell me that they're supposed to be friends? Like, if you look me in the eye and tell me that Pokemon are doing the good thing when it comes to Power World, I don't think we can be friends, really. Like, what they are doing is not good for anyone. It's also not even good for them, they just don't even realize it yet. I love that sequence. Having Donkey Kong just blasted, like, constantly. Circle. No. Cool, that was correct.
Welcome to bonus stage.
I meant like the actual Pokemon. Oh. Yeah, I got a lot of complaints about how chummy Pokemon are, really. Like, why can they understand English? Or like, or whatever language the game is set to. Why can they understand humans? Like, they're not really wild creatures anymore, they're just like humans, but lesser rights, if that makes sense. You know, like, there's a difference between having like a wild Tyranitar on the loose and just a Tyranitar that you can talk to and, you know, figure it out. They're not really wild animals, they're just like humans, but with differences. You know? Like, hey, would you like to be enslaved in my Pokeball and, you know, be forced to fight whenever I feel like it? Sure. I see no issue with that at all. I don't have any autonomy. I'm fine with giving you my life constantly for no real benefit. Compared to it being an actual wild Pokemon with its own agency and rules and stuff. So I don't like how modern Pokemon is really treated. It's also like, catch a bajillion Rattata to complete the Pokedex. Like, the gameplay stuff to encourage you to just catch a bunch of them makes each Pokemon feel less impactful. You know, like, you didn't need to complete the Pokedex in the older games, right? You could just kind of do it for fun. But now you kind of need to do it. Mewtwo was just straight up a dude. You know, Mabel's research is stupid. It's not just Mabel's research, but in terms of Mewtwo's like a spliced human and Pokemon hybrid, isn't it? It's just really weird that it got 2 Mega Stones out of nowhere. That's kind of the weirdest part about it. But yeah, like, I've heard in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, right? You can't compete in gyms, like, you can't do gym battles unless you have, you know, certain types of Pokemon, or you've collected a certain amount of Pokemon, completed the Pokedex, you know? We don't really need to be over there. And then Legends Arceus, you can't access new areas unless you catch a lot of Pokemon. Or, like, you know, do more Pokedex challenges, which is part of it is just catching more Pokemon. You know? And so it's like, instead of just being an actual creature, it's more of an object. And the Pokemon are willing to be part of your team, because they fully understand English and fully like the idea of being your personal slaves forever. You know, they're not actually wild Pokemon, they don't have their own autonomy. Like, personally, I don't like modern Pokemon. Like, modern Pokemon has really lost its charm. Okay, luckily we are getting close to completing Fungi first. Well, I say completing, but we're not, you know, 100%ing it. But yeah, it's okay if people like modern Pokemon games. You can enjoy a bad game. You cannot enjoy a good game. Alright? But you can't look me in the eye and say that they are good games. Okay. I'm sorry for the rant and all that, and I wish I wasn't negative about Pokemon, but it's because I love Pokemon that I need to try and defend it, you know? If you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. So, while I do love Pokemon, I have to stand up for what I believe in order to potentially get a game that I like in the future. I hope that makes sense. I know it's weird that I'm like a PokeTuber, right? And I'm supposed to be like all positive about Pokemon and all that, but we are missing one banana. I think it's at the base or something. Right. Yeah, if I remember correctly, this might be a really hard minigame. So if it is, we're just not even going to worry about it. I think I have an idea what this is.
Welcome to bonus stage.
Oh boy. This, because given the way that the memory loads, it's not optimized for emulation, which means that it's almost impossible to get a banana. Yeah. Given the emulation and all that, it's statistically... Why am I going back into it? It's statistically impossible for a human to do it. You need to have like perfect reflexes, or you need to like slow down the game for better reflexes. But training Riolu, how's it going?
Welcome to bonus stage.
What am I doing? Exit to level. Get out of here. Don't tell me I need to do it.
Okay.
Alright, we gotta exit the level to get out of there, which is a bit annoying, but we don't have much more to go in Fungi Forest. What else can I do? I can do that. That's a fun challenge. You enjoyed that conversation? It's all good. I've just been going on a bit of a rant about Pokemon, and knowing you, you're probably not going to be enjoying it if you do go back on and watch it. I'm not as optimistic as you are about modern Pokemon, unfortunately. I wish I was. I would love to be positive, but it's not really my thing. Partly as an Aussie, and I guess partly as a Pokemon fan. Hey, so I have an idea about where I want to go. Yeah, I guess there wasn't even around here. Alright. So the last thing I want to do we grow in discomfort. I appreciate alternative views. That is a good attitude to have, really. Because, like, if, you know, you're surrounded by a lot of people that agree with you, like, constantly, you're not going to get much out of it, and your kind of opinion about the world is going to shrinken. And so having alternative opinions does allow us to grow. You know, like, I kind of like some negativity, because it gives more reason for the positivity, if that makes sense. Like, it would be very unfair if I was to be like, you have a negative opinion, you're not allowed to talk, right? If you got a negative opinion, I think you should be allowed to talk. You know? You can't really ban someone for having a different opinion.
Welcome to bonus stage.
So, appreciating the negativity is really good. But yeah, like, modern Pokemon, I'm not sure. I wish it was better. Are we going to do it? Yeah. 142 sounds just so good with you, but absolutely I love disagreements and civility around debates. Yeah, as long as it can be civil, that's the main thing. You know? If you start swearing and start being like, alright, I'm banning you, you know, that's when it becomes an issue. That's when you do censorship. And overall, I'm not a big fan of censorship. You know, if it's art, it should be appreciated in the form that it's intended to be appreciated. And so, censoring something because you don't particularly like it doesn't really sound that interesting to me. You know? I guess we do need to do one of these. So, yeah, as long as everyone can be civil about it, it's great. So I appreciate that you're able to understand my opinion and, you know, still care. But how are you going, how are you enjoying the small project? See any other creators that you particularly like? The game audio was too loud, was a question. Oh, sorry. I'll see if I can turn it down in a moment. This area is definitely a loud section, that's for sure. I think it's only really those segments where it's like really loud. The rest of it's pretty chill. Yeah, my question was, how are you enjoying the Small Poketuber Club? Like, have you found other creators that you enjoy? Yeah. I think we're about ready to head into this coffee shop. You know, like, if the Small Poketuber Club was only people that only love Pokemon, it would get kind of boring, if I'm being honest. But having people like me that, you know, have some negativity to encourage discussion and growth, I feel like that's needed for a community, you know? Instead of an echo chamber of, yes, we love Pokemon, Pokemon's the greatest, we are an ecosphere, constantly able to adapt and grow. You know? That's a great idea. I only promoted myself once and I haven't had a chance to meet new people yet. Fair enough. I know that Shining Gamer was in your stream because you did tag him the other day. So that's like one of, you know, many people, I guess. Media Source in the chat, also pretty regular and also does some cool content. You know, so there definitely are people. And you know, if you're looking to do some kind of collab with people, I feel like, well, you can either A, just like go through their content and reach out to them, or you can post in the collab ideas and see if people want to reach out to you. But yeah, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I should see if anyone wants to race the 500 battles from me with research. Yeah. I mean, you know, there's definitely gonna be people that be interested. Well, I mean, I don't know for certain, but I imagine they will be interested. But yeah, if you got an idea, you just put it in the collab idea and people will reach out to you. You know? Hopefully. And yeah, Shining Gamer was is also a recent member of the Small Poker Chipper Club. Which is pretty cool. Like, I know that it's mostly creators at the moment helping each other out by viewing each other's content, but the idea is that our viewers also do this. So, you know, let's say I bring a viewer in to the SPC, then they say, oh, Training Riolo is alive. I'm gonna go check him out. Okay? Then, you grow your audience, right? YouTube likes your stuff, gets new audience, you get them into the Small Poker Club, and they go, oh, I happen to like Ladies Man. And so, ideally, it's a snowball. Like, it just continues to grow and grow. But we're all kind of small at the moment, so we don't have much of an audience. So getting those initial members in is a bit hard. But that's the idea, at least. Now, I do apologise about the volume of the boss item. So, I'm not going to focus on talking, I'm going to be focusing on the action. I was able to watch the tournament the other day. It was a lot of fun. Some good twists and turns. Yeah, I do apologise about the some of the technical difficulties I was having. Still getting used to OBS and streaming, and I also only have one monitor, so I might need to upgrade that. But other than that, I think the tournament was pretty good. Better just tank it. No need to apologize. I have newest streamer. I have Pam, obviously. Newest streamer I have with. Okay. I do understand. I just focus on this battle. So I'll get to the rest of your comment in a sec. What's happening at the moment is that he's got. Well, he's making this sink to the lava, so I'm on a timer. So I gotta try and bait him up before it gets too far into the lava, you know? Stun the barrel. Okay, don't do that, don't do that. So as you can see, we are getting lower and lower. So I'm gonna carry this up. Also, the music is getting more and more intense. Come on. Look how low it is. Don't have much time. There we go. Get out of here. Alright, that was intense, but here we go. So, no need to apologise. I have new streamer I collab with time to time. I'll try to see if he's interested in joining. He plays up games too. Fair enough. Like, the idea is that because we want an ecosphere of people, right? We want to have a variety of people, and so having other content is pretty good. Like, obviously, as you see, this is not a Pokemon game, right? Because I want people to be able to express themselves besides just Pokemon. If it was Pokemon only, it wouldn't be as fun, you know? Media Source does wrestling, we got some people that do Coldmon stuff, you got... yeah, like, having other content is good. Just as long as they do Pokemon content every now and then. I'm not too concerned about the percentage, you know? It's more just to stop a bunch of people just joining out of nowhere, you know, as creators. At the end of the day, if I reach out to you, it's probably because I think you're decent enough for it. It's just mostly for the people that reach out to me. It's like, well, I gotta check out your channel to see if you're very qualified for this, you know? But yeah, that's the idea, right? Spread the word of the SPC to your viewers and other creators, and you know, slowly but surely, we all grow. A rising tide lifts all boats. You grow, then I grow, then you grow, we all grow. It's something to work towards. We just need to get people to start growing. And, you know, I can only do so much with, like, 100 subs, right? Like, I can try and convince people to join, but, you know, at the end of the day, I've got a small audience. We are the future of the YouTube community. Exactly. You know, the modern PokeTubers that are, like, really big, they had to start from somewhere. And there's no reason why we can't be the next big PokeTubers. We all start from somewhere, and this is our origin story. But that is going to do it for today's stream. Next week we will go into Crystal Caves. Start exploring that a fair bit. And then we'll be going into Creepy Castle, and then we'll be doing the rest of it. So, this is where we're going to end the stream. I would like to thank everyone for watching. I know that I did a fair amount of a Pokemon rant, but it's good to talk about it. So, I would like to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. See yous.